Okay, so in this video, we're going to do CIS27 Lab 2 Access Management in Windows. The first thing that you need to do is to be able to obtain an external USB hard drive, then connect it to the computer system. And as you connect it, you are going to be able to open up. We can go to this PC, find the USB, and you want to be able to find this folder called 2024 CIS27 Windows 10 VM. We want to right click, copy, and onto the desktop, we're going to paste it. And this will allow us to have a secondary version of the virtual machine that I had created and put on the USB in case if it fails, then we can go back to the original and be able to recopy it. So as I did that, I have the folder right here. So let me close this. And I would be able to go inside the folder. I'm going to go ahead and access a subfolder, and I'm going to go ahead and double click the VBox file. You might only see two files. The blue file, the blue icon file is what you want to double click. Now coming back to the step, once that boots, do not press anything during the booting process. It might prompt you to press any key. Just leave it alone and it's going to boot. Once that's booted, you're going to log in. And in the case where if you have virtual machine issues with inputting, we can go to input, keyboard, and we would do insert alt, Control Alt Delete. And that will allow you to have the login with the student account. So this is your password for the virtual machine. Now, once we get through loading the virtual machine and it boots and we logged in to the desktop, you would see something like this. In part B, we are going to use Computer Management Console and to be able to create the user account and access the event viewer. And in this section, it talks about account is being treated as a digital identity for the user. And the user could be a non-human Internet of Things or robotic entity where it would connect from one system to another or execute some task. Authentication is a way that we verify that identity, and we would then authorize them to a certain resource with a level of access. So on your Windows virtual machine, we're going to go ahead and right-click the Windows button. We're going to go to Computer Management Console, and that will be step 7 in part B. And in the Computer Management Console, once you're here, you're going to pursue step 8. We're going to right-click, or we're going to click the local users and group. And this is something that's available in Windows Pro compared to the home version. So when you click the arrow, it's going to expand and you would see 2 containers. One folder, that's going to be all the users in the system. The other folder is going to be the groups. So I would start with creating the user to identify the user. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these users. So we're going to go ahead and right-click the user folder. We're going to make a new user. And we're going to name this user as part of set 10 and 11 and 12. So we're going to call this user T-Wright. And the name is going to be Thomas Wright. So this information we'll be able to obtain from Human Resource. And the description, this is a production employee. Now, we can create a generic password that is going to allow the user, or it's going to require the user to change the password anyways, as this toggle is selected or this checkbox is selected. So once we create this particular user, it's gonna. Oh, I have the policy, so we're just gonna go ahead and put it password. And then same thing. So we give it a generic password that meets the policy requirement. We're gonna go ahead and click create. So when we create, it's gonna give us another prompt for another user where we would complete step 13. We're gonna go ahead and type in R. Lopez. For the second user, her full name is Rosa Lopez. And we want to make sure that we check the way that we type our names when we add the user. It has to be exact match. Otherwise, the system won't be able to find it. And she's going to be the floor manager. And we're going to click create. But in this case, we should create a password for her as well. And it is a generic password where she would need it to reset. So, oh, she already exists. So I'm going to go ahead and delete her first, as I did this earlier. So right click, new user, and then we're going to do R. Lopez. And then the password or the full name, Rosa Lopez. And she's the floor manager according to the lab. And then we give her a generic password if needed. And we're going to click create. So up on this point, we're going to close this and right click the groups. We're going to do a new group. And the first group we're going to make is going to be called employees. We can go ahead and add T right to this group by clicking this add button. And we're going to search for his name. So at this point, we want to make sure that this is what the search that we're looking for the user account is matching what we created in the prior steps. So if it finds it, it's going to underline it and add it here. We're going to go ahead and click create. So as we have so I'll call this employees 1. And then on the next one, we're going to make managers. So I'm going to call this managers 1 as well, as I already have the other group existed. And I'm going to go ahead and add Rosa Lopez in here. So R. Lopez is going to be added. So that step, we click add and type in her user account. Check the name, it's underlined, click OK. It gets added to the list here. We're going to click create. So now when we come back to the groups, so when we click on the groups folder, we would see that I have the employees 1, which I recently created, and the managers 1. Or if you're doing the lab exactly, we would have employees 1 and manager 1. So we would screenshot these for the lab submission. Then we're going to go to the user folder. We had created, let me delete Cape Park. We had created T. Wright and R. Lopez. So Rosa Lopez and Thomas Wright were created in the last few steps. Then after this, we're going to close, or we're going to go to event viewer. And we're going to look at the event that we just generated by creating the user and accounts and group, because the system keeps track of all the things that happen. So expand the event viewer, go to Windows Log, expand that, and open security. As you can see on the top of our list, and you might have some additional entry here if there are other activities that are happening in your system. But on this particular virtual machine, we would see that it audit success. We successfully managed some user accounts. So we would open this up and it would ask you what is the task category. We would see that here. So we can put down that is user account management. And it asks you, did the event audit successfully or failure? So as we saw, look at the keyword audit success. So we would say audit success. What account name was used to complete the task? So when we look at the account name, we are the login account for us is the student account to the virtual machine. And that was the account that we used to create the groups and the user. Then for the security ID, you would find that here at the top, which points to the system, which is the container for our access, which is the CIS27 user account. And it's only going to identify the account to which system that had modified or changed the system state at a certain period of time. Then for your group name, if you have your group information, you can put that down. So I would need to scroll down, and in this case, we don't have any kind of group information. So if you have that, you can put that there. What task was completed? Or when was the task completed? So we can close this and we can take a look at the log time date, which is also included in here, or we can put that information from. Sure.
So it says to open the group policy editor. I have it here, but something else comes up. So you're gonna do that?
No, so close that. You need to type group with the capitals. Type it as it's shown in the lab.
Oh.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and close Computer Management Console and we'll move to the next step, which is Part C. And in this step, we're going to use command prompt to create and manage user account, just like what we've done in Computer Management Console, but directly from command line. So to open up command line, you would first start with the Windows search bar, and you can find command prompt by doing CMD this way. There are other ways to open, but we want to run it as administrator. So once you found your command prompt app, you are going to select the run as administrator option from the right. And this prompt is going to pop up saying that do you allow the app to modify the device? We're going to click yes. So in that, we have completed the first step of Part C, which is number 26. And here, what we can do is we would first create another user called for Kpark, and put in the password. So we go ahead and do a net user Kpark. So when you're using a net user command, following that command is going to be the user account or username, and then the password. So in my case, I need my password to be complex because I already enabled the security policy. So we will just make it longer. And then we are going to do a /add option. So it's going to say if it's longer than a certain amount of characters, the earlier Windows is going to not take. So we're going to proceed by doing a yes. So the password does not meet the, okay, so I need to redo the password with the capital P. And then we'll issue a yes to make sure that it's okay. It's fine that it's not compatible with the earlier Windows. Windows 2000. And you want the information, yours might not prompt this because you don't have the policy enabled and I do. But it would say command completed successfully. So take a screenshot that we have completed that step successfully. And then we'll go ahead and add Tina. So we want to make sure that we would do a net user, again, the same command. And then we would change up the account name and the password. I have to use complex passwords, so capital P. And then we're gonna do an option add. And the same thing happened because I'm using policy. So it's saying that it might not be compatible with Windows 2000. We're gonna say yes and say proceed. Once you have the user account, we're gonna go ahead and add them to the group. So we also need to, I forgot to do number 28. So we're gonna go ahead and add each account to the group. So for Ken Park, we're gonna add him using local group to the managers, which is a group that we had created in the prior step. And we would type in his username and do a /add. So when you add the account, we're gonna make sure that the account already existed. We created in the prior step. And then for the group, we put it in the parenthesis, in the quotation mark, it's a group that's already been created. That's the name of the group. And we want to add the user account that existed in the existing group. And the action is completed. Then we are going to do the same thing for step 29, which is where we will do a net local group. And this time we're going to add Tina Freeman to employees. And do an add. And that is accomplished successfully. So we want to make sure that the user accounts is there. If it's an existing group, we can use the net local group with an option add, as long as we include the group name and the proper account name. And at this point, we can see our users by doing net user command, and it shows that I have Rosa Lopez, Ken Park, Thomas Wright, and Tina Freeman. If you wanted to see the members in a certain group, we would do a net local group. Managers. And it lists Ken Park is in the manager, right? I'm gonna make sure that Rosa Lopez is also in there. Okay, so now let's double check again. The managers group, so now I should have K Park and R Lopez. Now we're gonna go ahead and check the employees group. And don't forget to take screenshot as you go, as it's stated. And it would show that Tina Freeman is inside the employees group. And I want to make sure I add it. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's not loading, it just gives me that page. And I did it exactly how the paper says, the capital letters. right click, left,
Just type group there. No, type group.
something
Okay,
didn't work for me.
I think, I don't know, maybe you pass the certain character that it doesn't give you the right search result. Net local group, and we want to add T right to employees. And this would have been done earlier in the earlier step, but since I've done the lab and then re-record, so it might been modified. So yeah, I want to make sure that Thomas Wright is actually in the employees group, or you can have it in the manager and remove him from that group. So now we're going to learn how to remove. So we are going to use the net local group again. And we want to now remove Thomas from the employees group. And you simply use delete, second level command or option. And so we had added him, and then we can remove him from that group. And so we can check by using net local group employees, and it should show you now only Tina Freeman is in it, where previously it should be Thomas Wright that's in it. So once we're done with the part C, we can close command prompt. And now we're gonna use group policy editor to modify user rights, which are privileges pertaining to tasks or actions inside the system. Now, it is different than permission in that user rights only apply to the user accounts, where permissions apply to the objects. So in the next few steps, we're gonna go ahead and open up group policy editor. So on my virtual machine, I simply search for a group, and I should find group policy editor, select this. This is gonna open up, we can drag this to the right to see the full thing. So there are two categories, computer configuration or user configuration. We want to use the computer configuration because it's really how we are gonna set the rules for the computer. So here it tells you that you are gonna, under computer configuration, we're gonna click the right arrow next to Windows setting to expand its option. Then we're gonna go into security settings. And then we're gonna go into local policies. In the local policies, you're gonna find user rights assignments. We're gonna click that. And halfway down on the right pane, you're gonna see deny as log job. So we're gonna right click, deny log on as a batch job. We're gonna right click that and choose property, or you can double click. Then we're gonna go ahead and click add users and group. And we're gonna deny K Park from this particular privilege. So again, once you find the user rights assignment, click on it. It's going to show the list of the different type of assignment that you can change. Find deny log on as batch job. We're going to go ahead and double click and then click add user group. And we're going to do K Park. And we're gonna click apply and okay. So at this point, when you look at this, you would see that K Park is now denied when he tried to log on for batch job, as batch job. So it's also listed here along with the properties. And so we want to take a screenshot of this for the lab submission. Then we can go to account policy, which is the next step. Go to password policy, step 45. And then on the right pane, we're going to configure. So by default, you should see that your password history is at 0. So originally it might be at 0 like this. And so if you want to modify and enforce the history, that means that the user must use new password. They cannot recycle the password based on the last 5 passwords. So if we set this value to 5, so if they use 5 passwords, they could not recycle those passwords. Then we're gonna click apply and okay. Then we can move to password length. On the next one, we change this to 12 characters. That's a common practice these days. So some companies still use 8 characters, but most companies are now moving to 12 characters. It just takes longer to brute force. And then apply and okay for that. And then for the complexity, make sure that the password has upper lowercase, numbers, symbols. So when we enable this, we just click on the radio button, enable, apply, and then okay. And then with that, we would have some settings. Now the password maximum age, if you want the user to change a password after so many days, you can change that value. By default, it is 42 days. And then the minimum is just how long do they have to use it before they can change it. And I normally keep it 0 days so they can instantly change it if they like. Or if you require that they have to use it for a certain amount of hours, you can set that there. And then for the lockout policy, this is where the chapter was talking about how long they're going to be logged out for and after how many failed attempts. So we can say 5 attempts, we can change the value. And then the duration, maybe 60 minutes and so on. So in order to change that, you have to change the threshold. And then you can also have it reset after a certain counter. So we would put the value in there for the lockout to reset. So these are some of the things that we can check. And that would tie back into the lecture for the password history. For the last part, just answer the question, what did you learn by completing this lab? So just to review, we learned how to create users and groups in Windows Computer Management Console. We learned how to create users and groups and modify group membership in Command Prompt. We also view the events generated by managing the user account for access. And then lastly, we learned how to use Group Policy Editor for the local computer, which is a system that we're accessing, to be able to modify different rules and also change privilege for certain users, such as K-Park. And then how can that be applied to your cybersecurity? This is important because access really changed how the landscape of the organization's cybersecurity. And thank you for watching the video.